A little background of FMEA. So, where do you think this could have happened? The failure mode and effect analysis. FMEA grew out of the systems engineering widely used tool for quality control. So, it is a fallout of one of the quality control kind of a method. It builds on tools like or similar to the risk analysis and the cause and effect analysis, which try to predict failures before they happen. You might have been aware of few of the systems. This cause and effect analysis at times is also you might be aware of in the name of the fishbone diagrams or the Ishikawa diagrams. So the fishbone diagram, it's named a fishbone diagram because the way the entire diagram is drawn is like a skeleton of a fish, where the effect is at one of the horizontal line and what are the causes to that effect are written on kind of the bones coming out of the skeleton of the fish. It looks like a fish. That's why it's also called as a fishbone diagram. And it is also one of the very interesting problem solving method or a technique that you might like to know more about by doing some research, some learning, by reading or going through your one of the video sessions. FMEA was originally used in the product development stage, especially in the manufacturing kind of a process. FMEA is also effective in improving the design of business processes and systems. So please note that FMEA is not only for the manufacturing units but can be used very effectively as well for business processes and business systems as well. If you have to understand a little bit about to start knowing the process of FMEA, this is how it would be. When using FMEA, you start looking in details at the proposed solution. So the highlighting word is in detail, not only just the bird's view. It is also something a view like not only having a macroscopic view but microscopic view also. And that particular looking at a perspective in detail is something very, very important and very, very critical for FMEA. Identify systematically all of the points where it could fail. So essentially it is all about having a proactive approach to how we can prevent failures. That's the essence of FMEA. Now once these potential failures have been identified, then you rate the potential consequences of each according to certain factors. Because obviously if you are looking at the potential failure, a fallout of it is there will be consequences. And this is how you tend to look certain things in detail, not only at the potential failures but the potential consequences of that failure. And these will depend on certain factors. The first factor is severity of how critical is the failure. The severity, it would be something, if I have to give an example, if a patient who is into an ICU, what would be the severity if electricity fails? Now that would be extremely severe, isn't it? Vis-a-vis that today the person who brings food for the ICU patients is late by 15 minutes. Now in terms of the severity, it would be much less as compared to the first situation. So severity is the first factor. Second being the occurrence how likely is the failure to happen? How likely are the chances for the failure to happen? What are the chances of number of times this particular occurrence can happen? That's the second factor. And the third factor is the detection. How easy will be it to detect the failure? Would it be difficult to detect or would it be easy to detect? Those are the variances. So essentially what we have looked at is three factors that are critical in FMEA and these factors are the severity factor, the occurrence factor and the detection factor. As we move forward, you will understand a little bit more on this. Now, using the rankings given to each of these factors, we tend to come and identify the most serious threats. Next, alter the design to eliminate or minimize the likelihood of the failure you identified. Altering the design to eliminate or minimize, that would require a good amount of a holistic understanding of the entire process. It would also need to have a very good reasoning ability. It would also require a very good quality of being proactive in being able to see slightly ahead in a very logical and sequential manner. I think all these qualities are very important. Once you have redesigned your solution, it's worth repeating the FMEA. What it means is there are times that using the FMEA is not enough when you do it once. At times you might have to do it number of times or you might have to do it multiple times to see that you have got a very efficient process. This helps to ensure that the new potential points of failure have not been introduced into the design. So it's worth going through that repetition.